Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com.
And it's time for another Triple Lutz Report. Just a few housekeeping issues to keep you posted, let you know what's going on with the show. First, our downloads are at records. I can't even believe how fast the show's grown in the past 3 months. I wish I could attribute it to my stellar performance, something I'm doing differently, but I think a lot of it is really out of my control. I think that people are waking up to the bogus money system, to the fact that the current economy is unsustainable, that happy days are not here again, that prosperity is not just around the corner, and that you're realizing that you have to take control of the situation. Your government is not going to do it for you. Nobody is going to do it for you. You must do it for yourself. So if you're a new listener, if you just started tuning into the program, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, go over to financialsurvivalnetwork.com, sign up, get the free weekly newsletter. Got a good one coming out tomorrow on September 30th. And in addition, we're not going to be having a lot of new programming over the next few days. We'll be having some. I've got a lot of segments that I've kept in storage for this day, but I'm going to be moving over the next week down to Florida. Everything's packed up. My office is gone now. I'm now working out of my house. If you noticed a slight difference in the audio quality, that's because my professional equipment is on its way to Florida. And let me just tell you a funny thing about the office. I wasn't convinced until about a month ago that I really wanted to move out of the New York area. It was something that I always wanted to do. And if you live in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, I'm sure you've thought about it yourself, and you've got family, you've got business connections here. Hey, let's face it, you get paid more in New York than you get paid in Florida unless you're in business for yourself or perhaps you're a professional. But finally, what made up my mind was I'd moved to a new office several months ago in Greenwich. I was subletting space, and it was a gorgeous office in a beautiful building. It was a dream office. Not that I care about offices so much because, let's face it, they're an expense, and I believe in keeping expenses low and keeping content production, putting out as many segments as possible because it's really all about you. I do this for you. And about a week after I'm there, a guy walks in and says, where is so-and-so? I looked at him and I instantly knew he was a process server. And I said, just go through that door over there. And I watched him go in and I listened, and he was serving an eviction notice. They said, this is great. At least he's not suing me. At least nobody's after me. But my landlord here, the tenant, is getting evicted. So as he's walking out, I said, I need a copy of that because I'm a subtenant here. So he gives me a copy. And sure enough, my landlord forgot to tell me that she was around 4 to 6 months in arrears in the rent. Obviously, had I known that, I would have never moved into that office, but she talked such a good game in talking me into taking the space that it never even dawned on me that she could possibly be that far behind on the rent. So I said, hey, what's up here? What's going on? I just want to know because if I have to move, I have to move. And she said, yeah, well, I thought I was going to be able to pay it back, but it's too much money. I owe them over $30,000. I said, gee, great. Thank you very much for telling me. But, out of every negative in life, a positive can always be found, almost always. And in this case, I said, do I want to go look for another office space in Greenwich, or is it time to move on? And I thought about it for a while, and I decided, I've wanted to move out of the Northeast for at least 30 plus years. And I like the Northeast, don't get me wrong, but I wanted good weather, got neck problems, and it's just so much better in the winter to be in warmer weather. And nobody can really challenge that. Not to mention the fact that Florida is one of 9 states without an income tax. And right now I'm going to rent a home in northern Palm Beach County, but should I decide to purchase a home down the road, which I might do, although it's not the most economically intelligent decision I could make, but down the road, the prices are less than 50% of the home price where I live in Westchester County. Real estate taxes are just 40%. Energy is about 60% the cost, as it is in Westchester County, which has the highest energy costs and real estate taxes in the United States. So when you start putting all that together, I just decided, it's time to move. I've always wanted to live near the water. I've always wanted to be in warmer weather. And then I figure, you know what? My kids, they're all spread out around the country. One's in San Francisco, another's in Texas, and one of my daughters is in New York City. So you know what? When I want to visit them or I want to see them, I just kind of send them a plane ticket anyway and they come home. So with all that, I decided if I'm ever going to do it, if I'm ever going to make the move, now is the time. And I think there's a lesson in life there. When you really want to do something, when you really want to make changes, when you really want to realize goals that you've set for yourself, you got to get out of your comfort zone and you have to go make it happen, because nobody's going to make it happen for you. And that's what I really learned. And it's a good experience. I'm not looking forward to the actual move, but the good thing is the home I'm moving into is fully furnished. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a pool. I was shooting for that. Had a number of deals fall through for various reasons. Nothing to do with me, of course. But finally found the right home, and I'm off. So this trip of Lutz is a little bit different. There's a show I've been watching. Came on CBS last year, and it's called Person of Interest. It's on Thursdays at 10 p.m. on CBS in New York, and this is the second season. It features Jim Caviezel, who is a hell of an actor, no pun intended. He played Christ, he played Jesus in The Passion of Christ, and Steve Emerson. And briefly, Emerson is a computer genius. He creates a machine that taps into every data feed in the U.S. and I guess the world, all the NSA feeds, the CIA, everything, looking for terrorist plots. And it finds banking transactions, car rentals, cell phones, gasoline charges. It's tapped into every webcam and public surveillance cam in the world on private and public networks. And it's monitoring your internet connections, your emails, your texts, everything. It cost a fortune to build, and Emerson's character, Harold Finch, sells it to the government for $1. And of course, there are factions in the government and in the criminal world, which oftentimes I don't know what the difference is, who are seeking to get control of the machine. And one of the byproducts of the machine is that it also finds people who are going to be killed and uncovers plots. But the government, of course, doesn't care about such things. It refers to them as irrelevant. And Emerson, he is enraged, and he looks for a way to stop these innocents from being murdered. And what happens is the machine will spit out a social security number, and the person who that number belongs to, you don't know if that person is the potential victim or if he's one of the people or she is one of the people involved in the plot to kill the potential victim. So they immediately set up surveillance on the person. They download all their phones, their cell phones, tap into all their communications, and try to figure it out. And originally, Caviezel's character, John Reese, is pretty much a homeless vet or CIA Special Forces agent, and he's a one-man killing machine. And what he's been doing in his spare time, which is all the time, is he's been rescuing citizens who are being attacked by thugs and solving the situation by doing vigilante killings. And Finch, probably through the machine, gets wind of Reese's fine work, seeks him out, and gives John an opportunity to save people and kill bad guys at the same time, which of course Reese is a little suspicious at first, but readily accepts. And together they form an unholy alliance where they're working to stop murders before they happen, talking civilian murders, criminal acts from occurring. And the show is amazingly well written. I mean, the quality of the writing is superb. Caviezel, is really an incredible actor, and he's kind of a tough guy, but he has a sense of humor. And so I'm going to review it every show this season on a Triple Lutz report because I really enjoy it. My wife enjoys the show, and it's just really well done. And I think this is season 2. They've put on a couple more A writers, the studio, and they're really out to make this thing the hit show for the season. And so everything that you are doing, that I'm doing, if we're walking down the street and there's a camera, in which New York City, it's all over the place, but more and more these cameras hooked into the internet, they're all over, and they're picking you up, and it frames you. It immediately identifies you from your cell phone or from facial recognition software. It determines your level of threat, whether you should be monitored further, and it's constantly analyzing everyone. And it draws a digital box around you. It goes through your email, listens in on your phone calls, it geosyncs you. You're never alone, except for Reese and Finch, who are both off the grid, and it doesn't track them. I guess that they have most favored person status with the machine. So this Thursday was the season opener, and Finch, in the last episode, was kidnapped by an insane, brilliant female hacker who wants into the machine. She just wants to control everything, and she's sociopathic. She kills people without a thought, always gets what she wants, and plans to force Finch to allow her access to the machine. But Finch says he sealed it off for exactly this type of occurrence to stop it from happening. She doesn't believe him, but she believes that there's always a backdoor into any system. So Reese is looking for Finch, and he tells the machine that if it wants him to continue helping people, it's got to help him find Finch. And the machine agrees, and it starts calling him at payphones, giving him information to help track him down. And in the meantime, the machine has identified a programmer in need of Finch and Reese's special brand of help. He's stolen $8 million from the Aryan Brotherhood, and they want their money back, and they want him dead. So they capture the hacker, and Reese has also got a couple people working for him in the police department. One guy's name is Fusco. He was a dirty cop that Reese turned to his advantage. And the other is this female cop named Carter, who's an honest cop and originally goes after Reese and then sees how corrupt the system is and wants to help Reese to bring justice. So they capture the hacker and Fusco, the Aryans, and they've got a cute Belgian shepherd that's really mean. And finally, Reese goes in there, and Reese wins the dog over because he speaks Dutch, and he knows that the dog's from Afghanistan and had a Dutch trainer. He's a special dog. So he turns the dog, and now this dog is part of their team. So without getting into the spoilers, the head of the Aryan Brotherhood is an 8-foot-tall guy, and he's a sociopathic killer. The one thing you will find on the show is more sociopaths per scene than probably any other show on TV. And maybe that's accurate, I don't know. But this is clearly a case of life imitating television, because recently, New York City announced a major breakthrough in their surveillance program. They can now trace back any person in any video back and find crimes that they've done, whatever, and it's going to be a wonderful crime-fighting tool. Of course, they don't want to violate your rights. They're just here to help you and make sure that you are safe because they care about you, because the government cares about you. So anyway, end of this show, the episode ends with them getting a lead on Finch's abductor. So stay tuned to next week. This series is phenomenal. You just don't want to miss it. This has been another Triple Lutz Report. Kerry Lutz, signing off.